Hey makeup friends, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my current favorite items. I also want to quickly address one of those favorites is currently this sweater, which I think I have now filmed in at least twice, possibly this could be the third time, and I am okay with that. There's nothing fancy about it. I just happen to really like the color. It's from Old Navy. I think I paid like $25 for it, and I am fully on board with outfit repeating. 100%. Okay, let's move into these favorites. Now, I do want to address up front, some of them were sent to me in PR, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they have quickly established themselves as favorites. So let's start with those two, and then we'll move into some of the other items. So up first are these perfumes here from Dossier. So this kind of holds true on two fronts. One in particular, this one here, which is Citrus Green Apple. I have been wearing the hell out of this fragrance. This one over here is Woody Chestnut. So not only is the fragrance itself one of my favorites, but I'm also really happy with Dossier. Now I do have to say, I have received items from them in the past. There are two perfumes sitting back there. I haven't actually experienced the brand as a consumer myself, so I've never placed an order, I've never dealt with customer service or seen what their shipping times or anything of that sort are. But what I really like about the company is that the fragrances themselves are fantastic. I haven't been disappointed by one of them yet. They spend the time on their website to really describe what those scents are, the notes, what it invokes even, and there is a breakdown on there between feminine scents, masculine scents, and what they consider unisex scents, which Woody Chestnut is one of them. I also really like their return policy, so if you aren't fully satisfied with your fragrance, you can return it for refund. They have a wide selection, which is growing all the time, and also on their website, they do have an area where you can submit fragrance ideas. So the fragrances that Dossier offer are inspired by other fragrances. For example, up here we have Fruity Orange, and that one is spot on to Clinique Happy, which just makes my heart happy. Clinique Happy is one of those like really nostalgic scents for me, transports me right back to high school time, but without all the drama. Citrus Green Apple takes a lot of inspiration here from Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. I do have a little sample of it. I have emptied this one out, but I did do a comparison between the two, including a wear test on one arm and a wear test obviously on the other. I would say they are very, very similar to each other, but I actually give the edge to the Dossier one because it has a little bit more of that brightness, a little bit more of the apple scent comes through. The other reason that I give the Dossier version an edge is because of the longevity of the scent itself, especially on my clothing. I do find that when I apply it, it's not that it's extremely heavy straight out of the gate and then dissipates over the day. It just comes out as a nice fragrance, and then particularly on my clothes, it sustains that throughout the day. It will fade away off of my skin over time, but I find that even if I just do like a little adjustment, I get sort of that waft of perfume again throughout the day. It does wash out of my clothes, so I don't have a closet full of competing scents or anything like that, but it just helps throughout the day just to be able to just sort of do one of these and refresh that scent. So Dossier has quickly become a favorite in terms of their products. Again, like I said, I can't speak to their actual customer service because I haven't had to experience that personally, but all of my contacts with the brand have been very positive. Again, they do back it up with that return policy, and the perfumes themselves come in at a fraction of the cost of the perfumes that you would find at, say, Sephora. So I like it for that as well. So that has earned its spot in my favorites, and then I do have one other PR item. So I know these are going to be controversial because they are makeup wipes, and there's a lot of hate on makeup wipes. I also can acknowledge the fact that they are individually wrapped, which is going to bring in concerns of the environmental impact. So I'm acknowledging that, but I'm going to tell you why these products are in my favorites and what I use them for. So they are from Florasis. They had reached out and sent me a bunch of their makeup removing products. So there was an oil, there were the box of wipes, and I had previously had this from them, but I'll throw it in here anyways. This is like a makeup removing oil, and it's fantastic. The oil that they sent me were little individually wrapped ones, which I'm not super in love with. I'll say this, you do get a generous amount of product in each little pod that they give you, but I find it to be too much for my purposes. So I don't really like those, but I love these. Now, it wasn't until I went to reorder, because that's how much I liked them, I reordered them. It wasn't until I went to reorder them that I realized that this box actually has two different types of removers in them. So you see there's a darker package and a lighter package. I thought that that was just like an aesthetic thing, but no, one of them is specific for removing like liquid lipsticks and eye makeup. One of them is more for general. I did not know that because it doesn't indicate that on the packaging at all. When I have replaced them, I have bought just the ones that are the makeup removers. Because when I was using them, I was noticing every now and then that there would be like a film left on my skin, and then sometimes there wasn't. So I was like, what is happening here? What I highly suspect is that the ones that are meant for removing eye makeup and like liquid lipsticks have more oil in them. And in fact, they do. It explains it on their website. And that is the problem that I was facing. And this one has more of that like water base to it than the oil base, which is why when I repurchased them, I just bought these. Just for point of reference, it was $24 US for a box of 40 of these, and the shipping was free to Canada. I love these. So the individual packaging, it serves a purpose for what I use them for. I like to keep these in my swim bag in particular, or just keep a few downstairs so that before I go for a run when I get home for work, I can just remove the makeup so that I don't have sweat and makeup and mascara and all of that congealing on my face. And then obviously for swimming, I can just remove my makeup before jumping into the pool. Now, the other reason that I like the fact that these are individually packaged is that it keeps the wipe itself very wet. Not like dripping to the point where it becomes like a liability and there's a bunch of liquid floating around in here, but just, you know, when you buy like the package of 25 of them or whatever, and you kind of have to store them upside down, otherwise the ones on the top sort of dry out. Doesn't happen with these because they have their own little juice right inside of them. So although I don't feel great about the environmental impact of it, I don't use them every single day, and they really do fill a need in my own particular lifestyle. So I really enjoy those, and I just wanted to share them with you. All right, moving on then. Actually, as I'm sitting here, one of these items is a PR item. This is the last PR item. So this is from Kaleidos. This is their quad in cold brew, and it is a perfect day-to-day eyeshadow palette for my purposes. There's a few things going on here. First of all, the shadows themselves, beautiful, top-notch. They know how to do mattes. They know how to do shimmers, and they're consistent across the board. You don't get like one palette where everything gets hard panned and gross, and then the next one is beautiful. Like, they're very consistent across the board. I also really like the shade range in the mattes. So you have a good transition shade, a deepening shade, and then obviously the deepest one here to really amp up the dramatics and really add some definition. And then you have one shimmer shadow up here. The shimmer itself is beautiful. So there are times where I'll just sort of like tap into it and then just add like just a tiny little bit of sparkle, but then you can also go full blown on it if you prefer. So it really depends. If my camera would pick it up, that would be fantastic. So it just really depends. It just really depends what your preference is or what you're feeling for that day. But I love this. This falls under that category of brainless but beautiful as far as I'm concerned, where you don't have to spend a ton of time thinking about how you're going to pair them, really trying to make them work, really trying to blend them out because they're stubborn. These are a dream to work with. An eye look comes together in no time, and I really don't have to think about it at all. Love this one. It is a heavy hitter. Another palette that falls under that beautiful but brainless category is this one here from Lawless. This is the Dreamy Dozen palette. I believe I've talked about this fairly recently. This is fast becoming a favorite of mine. You can see you've got a row of warmer tones, a row of neutral shades, and then a row of cooler. You've got nice, again, that gradient transition of the matte shadows and then the shimmers over here. The shimmers hold up all day. They're certainly not the most like foiled metallic shadows out there, but these are also not the most deep and dramatic mattes. So if you're looking for just sort of subtle everyday makeup, this palette delivers. If you're looking for a lot of drama, this is not the palette to get it done. You can get that out of this one because it has that really deep matte shade and because the shimmer in there really can be amped up. But I love this palette for work or for like weekend makeup where I just want to look polished and put together, but I don't want to spend a ton of time. I don't want anything that's like, here's my eyes. I just want like, I don't look tired today. This one gets it done. I love it. Again, super blendable. Those shimmers last all day. I think I already said that. Just very impressed with this palette overall. But again, I would caution that if you do like a more dramatic eye with a lot more depth to your shades, this is not going to get it done. This is going to run on that more subtle side. But for me, that's perfect for every day. All right, let's move on to base products. And while I do have quite a few foundations that I very much enjoy in my collection, there are two that have floated to the top as my favorite at this moment. So first up, we have from Maybelline, the Instant Age Rewind 4-in-1 Glow Perfector. I have it in shade Light. This is a brand new one because over the course of the summer, I went through an entire one. Now, this is not going to add a lot of coverage to your skin. It will help to even out your skin tone a bit, but it's not really going to cover up anything that you may want to cover up. What it does, though, is it adds this element to your skin that makes it look like you drink all the water and you eat all the veggies. Like, it just adds this healthy glow to your skin without being shimmery, without looking greasy or sweaty. It doesn't look unnatural at all. It just really looks like it's coming from within. This is a product that I wore pretty much every day in the summer if I wasn't wearing the other one we're going to talk about. And it just like, it's so lightweight on the skin. You don't have to worry about it starting to like run if you're sweating or anything like that. As well, we've got this from Makeup by Mario. This is the Super Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in Light. And you can see I have used quite a bit of it. Again, this one doesn't add a ton of coverage, although it definitely does more than this. But again, it's just that idea of skin enhancing. It's not a skin perfector. It's not a skin masker. It's a skin enhancer. And again, it does very similar to what the Maybelline does. It just adds that little bit of glow. Again, I do find that this one does a little bit more in terms of evening out my skin tone because it is a little bit of a thicker consistency, not to say that it's thick at all, but it has a little bit more substance to it than the Maybelline. So although I was saying that I could see this one playing through in winter, I think I'll probably be relying a little bit more on this because as the winter progresses, this situation is just going to continue getting paler and paler, and this is going to help just sort of bring a little bit of that tan back without looking odd and strange. It has a very nice undertone, a very natural looking undertone. It is not a bronzer, but it does add a tiny little bit of depth to my skin. I can show you on the back of my hand because this one is open, or maybe on the arm might be a little bit better. So we'll just, my God, my arm is so pale that it's just bouncing the light back at the camera. But there, you can see it just adds a hint of depth to it. That can obviously be sheared out quite a bit, but you may, I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up. It, again, just has that like glow to it. I don't know if the camera will be able to pick that up. But again, it's not glittery. It's not greasy looking. It just, it's like it just captures the light and just bounces it back gently. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Obviously, I've got a huge hole going on in there, and I would 100% repurchase this once this one runs out. All right, now an item that I would repurchase if I could, but sadly the brand has gone out of business, is my beloved Upswing Mascara from Bite Beauty. I love this. I have this one, which I've just opened, and I have one more backup, which I found at Marshall's or Winners. I can't remember which one. So you may be able to find one there. And if you do, like, grab them all because it's so good. I love this mascara. I don't know that I will ever stop mourning its loss, to be completely dramatic and honest. There's the wand. It's just like an hourglass wand with like regular bristles. There's nothing fancy about it. It hasn't been engineered in any sort of weird way, but the product speaks for itself. From the very first time I ever applied it, I remember I did it on camera. I applied it and I was like, holy shit, look at my lashes. And every time since that I put it on, I'm like, holy shit, look at my lashes. Freaking love it. I am very sad that it's no longer available, but because I love it so much, I had to include it in this favorites, even though it could be frustrating to anybody who wants to try it out. I'm very sorry about that. If you're looking for something sort of similar, Lash Paradise from L'Oreal, somewhat similar. Won't replace this one, but it is a very close second, I suppose. We have another item that I have repurchased, and it's this one here from Clarins. This is their Lip Perfector. This is in the shade 7, and it is one of those perfect, like, my lips but better kind of shades where it doesn't add a ton of color to my lips, but it does add a good amount of shine. It makes them look nice and full. It makes them feel very hydrated, and that hydration lasts. So I like this as sort of like a lip balm, lip gloss hybrid. It's the perfect item to throw in your purse, particularly in this kind of shade. They do have quite a few shades to choose from. I haven't tried any of their really deep ones, although I would be curious to know if they like bleed and feather and get messy, or if they kind of stay in place. I will say this doesn't transfer everywhere. Like, it's not sticky. It doesn't gum up on my lips or anything of that sort. It's just a beautiful product. I never hear anybody talk about Clarins, so I'm going to make my dedicated mission in life to convert people onto the Lip Perfector because it's lovely. I love it. And the last item that I have to share is one that I almost bought a second one of during the recent Sephora sale, but I restrained myself. I actually didn't buy anything during that sale, and in fact, so far, I have not bought any makeup during the Black Friday sales either. I'm quite impressed with myself. I have bought other stuff, most of it running related, oddly enough, but no makeup. So I'm feeling a little bit surprised by that given my history, but also oddly proud. Anyways, back to the brush. You're gonna have to forgive me because I suspect I'm gonna mix up the word brush and blush a lot in the next couple minutes, but strap in, we'll ride with it. So this is the Rare Beauty Pinch Blush Brush. And as you can see, it does have a beveled edge. It is a bit dirty, I have used it, but the tips of the bristles are a bit deeper anyways, so this isn't all blush that you're seeing here. Part of it is just the way that the brush is designed. But what I love about this brush is the cut on it. So it's not this big domed thing where you don't have any precision. You can really get it exactly where you want it, but it is still splayed and fluffy enough that you can then blend the blush out. Yes, blush. It's designed to go with their liquid pinch blushes, the ones in like the little canister where you need like a micro dot and it goes a long way. But I also find that this works really well with cream blushes. This one's from Makeup by Mario. This one's Barely Blushing. That's what I've got on today. As you can see, it's a cream in a pan. This picks it up really nicely without picking up too much product. And then again, it just blends everything out really nicely. Same with those liquid, same with the liquid blushes. Geez, blushes from Rare Beauty. This just works so nicely on them. It's not great for powders, but it's not designed to be worked with powders. I really like that although there are so many bristles in here, so it is rather dense, which you need for the cream and liquid products, but there is still a lot of spacing. So it's almost like a duo fiber kind of thing going on. So it's not absorbing all of the product, but it's also not laying down a ton. It's just the perfect brush for that purpose. So I was very tempted to buy a second one, but I just decided that if I just wasn't lazy and washed it, I'd be fine. So that's the plan. So there we have it, guys. Those are my current favorite items. Those do change from time to time. I don't like to do monthly favorites because it feels a little contrived, but eventually I'm sure I will shift over to another perfume, and eventually I will shift over to another foundation. But right now, these are my favorites. Now, typically at the beginning of the video, I will quickly walk you through the makeup that's on my face, but I forgot to do that because that's just the kind of day I'm having, so let's do it right now. The palette that I'm wearing is the Viseart Cashmere palette, and if I could open it, it would help you, because then I can show you. So there she is. And this is the lipstick that I'm currently wearing. This is from the Lip Bar. It's in the shade Boss Lady, B-A-W-S-E, just to make it cool. And I guess if I was to say what are my favorite liquid lipstick formulas, like as an umbrella, this would be right there along with the lip clays from Kaleidos. Those are my two longtime favorite liquid lip formulas. You cannot go wrong. So those are just a couple little bonus items to throw in there, but that's going to bring us to the end of today's video. I would love to hear down below what some of your current favorite items are. What's in the top drawer that you're reaching for over and over again? Let me know down below. But for now, I'm going to thank you for taking the time to watch. I'm going to wrap it up here, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.